Hi everyone, welcome back to one more video. Today we are going to start some game logic. We are going to create enemies, damage, collision between players and enemies. So let's start with the damage for the player. We are going to use two variables that we are going to create. So let's start with HP and a damage CD. We have some changes here. So first on the initializer we have no collisions with the slimes. We add this contact test bit mask also. In the animations we are running every animation with keys animation, so we can remove just the animation actions, and the jump actions are separate from that. So when you stop the animations, if we want to change after taking a hit to change the sprite of the player to be red, we don't stop jumping in middle air and change the sprite. We just change the animation, standard animation or the jump animation to the damage one. We do this in every single function that animates the player, so everything has the key animation. And when we jump, I made a new function for impulsing the player, so we can use that separately if we want to collide with another thing. When we are colliding on top of the enemy, I wanted the player to just get the impulse, not to jump. In the jump attack, I changed the same thing. So let's create the function to take damage. Okay, so this function here, take damage, we have a direction as parameter and damage. Damage is the amount of health player loses. If the damage CD is false, he enters here. If it's true, he just passes through it. We want to have a cooldown. If we take damage, we want to wait a second before taking damage again. We want to remove the animation. This we resize the node because my sprites have different sizes, so I need to resize them and don't change the actual size of the player in game. We set the velocity to 0 so we can impulse it. Here we apply the impulse if we are jumping, and if we are not jumping, because I want to impulse more the player if he's jumping here. And we set the damage CD to true, so if you take damage again we are not going to enter here. We have action to wait for 1 second and then setting the damage CD to false. We run this in sequence in here, in this sequence, and in this sequence we wait and animate the player because we are changing the animation here. We reset the animation. We have the keys, so when we stop the animation we don't stop the damage CD. Let's create the enemy class now. Let's go here in the model, no file, enemy. Okay, so this is our main class. Now we are going to create a new class, slime. And the slime is going to inherit from the enemy class, and it's going to implement those functions that we set a fatal error that is not implemented. Let's initialize everything. Okay, so here we just initialize the sizes of my sprite, and then we initialize the physics body to collide with the ground and the player. Let's go to the move now. The difference here is that the enemy dies in the function. We are removing it from the parent, the node. So it's going to get out of the screen, and we return this true so we can remove it, the enemy, from the vector of the main level. And for the last function that we are overriding, let's go with animate walk. Let's go to the main level screen now to put these guys into the actual level. Before that, I just noticed something here. The initializer is going to have, it's not going to receive a node, just HP, damage, and speed. Okay, so the enemy class doesn't need this because it's always false. Okay, so here in the level 1 scene, let's go all the way down, and here in physics category, let's change some things here. So the player, okay, we changed the jump mechanics here, so we are going to add some new functions, but let's first just, let's create, we have this new function, verify button jump. Okay, let's just create it now. What this does, I want the jump button to be pressed multiple times in the air if the player wants. So this just verifies that, and we just call in the every touch function here. Kind of messy here with the comments, but we changed the jump button press also. We have the pressing jump attack now, so we can check that button. So this explains a little bit of what I did. Let's create the vectors for the part. Okay, so we have the slime and the ghost. The ghosts are gonna be flying enemies that I'm going to create later, but not now. Okay, so I have these functions here: spawn enemies, calculate enemy movement. I create this function, check game over here. Every time we take damage, we can check if the player is alive to end the game. And I changed some things in the check sword collision. Okay, so this spawn enemy, we just create this action to repeat forever. Okay, I'm repeating it forever now. Spawn and wait 2 seconds, then spawn again, keep doing this. This just creates a new slime, set its position to the left side of the screen. This makes the slime to be in the floor level, and then we append to the array and add the child to the main node. Let's just create a function to verify, to move the enemies. So calculate enemy Okay, so this just moves the enemy. For each enemy, it moves the enemy to the player direction. Okay, we have this collide with floor now. So if we check if the player is jumping, we change the action button name so we cannot click on it again, because when you click, we check the button name. Change the texture to the action button. Collide with the player with the floor. Animate the player if player is touching any button, left or right. Otherwise, we just animate standard animation. Okay, so let's create a function to check the sword collision, and we are going to call it on the update function. This intersects function checks the collision for us. It's pretty useful. For each slime, we check if the sword intersects with the slime node. If the player is jump attacking, we apply an impulse just like in the Mario game, where if you jump on top of it, the enemy you do damage to it. The player jumps again. If the player is pressing the jump attack, the jump force bigger. Otherwise, it's half of the jump force. Of course, it's not the jump force because we don't want the player to leave the screen. And we change a lot of things here on the picking contact. First, we check the contact with the slime, player with the slime. So if the player and the slime are touching each other, if the player is in the body A, we calculate the direction of the damage. The player takes the damage, the node B. So the enemy node have some impulse also. We impulse both the nodes to different directions, so we just have one collision. We don't want multiple collisions in the same second. This else here just do the same thing, but the enemy is the body A and the player is the body B. And we check if the game is over, we go to the menu scene. So, okay, here we are on the menu. We have ourselves some enemies, so I have these assets for them. We have the damage asset and the animations. And if we jump, we can hold the action button now. And if we collide with the enemy in the air, I'm gonna try to collide in the air. We jump, okay? And if we stop pressing, we jump less, and if we hold, we jump more. Okay, let's try to fix that. Okay, so we forgot this thing here. When this line takes damage, it got the impulse backward, it got the knockback, changed the sprite to be damaged, but it never left that state. So we need to, after taking damage, set the CDs to false and start moving again. Okay, we are dying if we take 3 hits. Our sprite is not changing for the damage one. Okay, we forgot this one. Oh shit. Okay guys, so this was the video. We spawned the enemies, we have new mechanics here. We can jump and take damage, we can jump and keep jumping. We had a lot of stuff here, so thank you for watching. Feel free to leave comments on the comment section and see you in the next episode. Thank you.